Actually,
Did that, well, all right.
Yeah, that passed.
That did pass the
A
other night.
couple meetings ago.
Thanks everybody for coming to our Recreation Commission meeting this evening. We appreciate everybody always taking the time to get here and share your thoughts and ideas with us. We really only have one thing on the agenda tonight, and that's to continue our discussion on oversight of the youth leagues in our city. You know, while we always appreciate the job the volunteers do, we had soccer in the last meeting to go over some things again. We know it's a thankless job. It's a hard job to get people to volunteer, first of all. And, you know, when you do get a couple people to volunteer, it's even harder to get the amount that you actually need to run the league successfully. So what we're trying to do with the mayor came up with some suggestions and an idea. We talked with our the record liaisons, and I think on this commission we've been talking about it for quite a while. But we're now actually formulating an agreement for all the leagues that use city-owned facilities. They will have to abide by the agreement that we put in place in order to continually run their leagues on city-owned property. Right now, we have the Amsterdam Youth Soccer Club, the Amsterdam Youth Baseball, and what will hopefully be starting soon is the Youth Football League again. And softball, correct. So the four that do that, you know, John Sumter's been generous enough with his time the last few years running basketball. And while they don't technically use the city of Amsterdam owned property, they use Greater Amsterdam School District properties. So we really don't have, you know, a say over what anybody does in the school district, but we're always willing to lend a hand and, you know, help out when we put these in place. If there's something we can partner with you on to help, you know, things run smoothly. I know how much time you spent on this the last few years, pretty much running it solo, winter and summer basketball. So, you know, I know how much time you spend on that. And when we get this in place, if there's something we can do to help out, we'd gladly do that too. First of all, just going backwards for a minute, is there anything from the last meeting anybody would like to discuss with soccer? We asked them to put some things in place and do some checks and balances for the upcoming season, and we're working on that with them. And I think we got a, you know, good foothold with their response. So this agreement, you know, they've started registration, baseball started registration. We're not going to interfere with anything, you know, that's coming up in the next few weeks with picking teams and things like that. You know, we want to get this in place so we can move forward, you know, for the upcoming seasons, which would be, you know, Little Giants, well, former Little Giants, I should say, and, you know, fall soccer, and the same thing with softball. So with that said, would anybody, I know we sent this out to everybody, just open the floor to discussion and see where we end up with changes or thoughts or ideas. We put everything in here that we could think of from our last meeting. I know it's 3 pages long plus the code of conduct, but we really tried to cover everything from drafts, registration, cashless registration, online signups only, kind of the same plan that the state gave us when they came in and changed the way we do business in the recreation department. And I do have to say, they've made it, what we thought was going to be more cumbersome actually made it a lot easier for us. For our summer camps and, you know, anything else that we do, everything is online, cashless, and, you know, money gets paid right into the, I don't even know where it goes, to tell you the truth.
yeah,
The city, whatever account the controller gave them, the money goes in, we get the registration forms, and,
And what's nice about Riser is that it is a sports league format. It's set up for sports league. I know, John, you used it for basketball a few years
Yes.
ago. Do you still use it or no?
No, I don't.
No.
No.
Was it useful for you when you?
It was useful. It was just a barrier between, the being in the city.
Yeah,
Former hands and
Yeah.
the account and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But other than that, no, it was very, very easy.
I think for us, it just made, and it would be the same for everybody. It just lends itself to accountability. We can hit week 1 summer camp, Michelle can go back, hit the button, boom, it's right there. How much money should we have taken in? And it's all, easily accessible. So that's one of the things we talked about. Election of officers has to be done on a regular basis. The best way to select teams. And we did all this, through the last 2 Recreation Commission meetings. What we thought was the best way to make teams fairly, spread the talent out, and make it a better experience for everybody involved. So I don't know if you'd like to go over this line by, item by item, or if anybody just wants to jump in and give suggestions.
I mind jumping in if you guys don't mind.
No, absolutely.
Amsterdam Youth Baseball had a board meeting on Thursday night, and we were able to go through this. I felt privileged I had the document. So I printed it out for all the board members that were in attendance, and, very well received. Everyone appreciates the fact that you guys are trying to, stand behind these leagues, and I think it's the right thing to do, and the board thinks it's the right thing to do too. So there are some knacky things that we wanted to go over, so I guess right now I'm speaking on behalf of the league and not with my chair here as the commission, kind of a split role. So I guess I'll just get right into field maintenance or field prep and maintenance. Little concern over the litter control. And I don't think that you would ever throw us off the field, but the board did want you to recognize that, some of the crew members go down and mow for vets, and you've done more mowing over there than you have for us, for as long as I've been a part of the league. But I think some of the summer help gets complacent and they'll just run over Gatorade bottles or whatever with the blades. And if we could maybe have a little bit more oversight from your staff and, have the senior guys going down there and saying, hey, get off the mower, pick this stuff up. Vets is, for the league to sign a user agreement at Veterans Park is a huge undertaking, right? The league is already paying for the outhouse down there. We don't lock it. It's been vandalized. We know everyone from the basketball court is coming to use it. Families walking by on bicycles are coming to use it. And that's a great thing. We're here to support the community and give back where you guys have given us so much as well. But, we would appreciate some help. And I don't think I would ever have to have a negative conversation with you, but the board is asking me to bring up these concerns, and, maybe we can just keep an eye on the summer help guys. You get some younger kids out there that just want to do their 6-hour shift and get home. But, just bringing that up, that I think the litter control at vets is a lot to expect out of the soccer or out of the baseball.
Yeah, I don't think that's necessarily, every piece of paper needs to be picked up. I don't even
Yeah.
why I put that in there.
You get kids that are there
But
home
I
for
think it's
summer.
basically just keep it neat, and especially
After
like
every
you
game.
said,
Yeah,
That
every
is-
game or time you're using it.
And I totally
and
understand
vets
the
is open
language
to
there.
the public, basically. There's
That's
people there all the time. So
Kind of
you're,
what we're saying.
I don't, you know what I mean?
And with that,
We would not
Robin,
be like, oh, you're responsible for
we're
the kids
paying,
that went there and played there during the afternoon.
we pay for dumpster up at Isabel's, $250 a month. And, the price seems to go up every year. With that over at Vets, we could use your help too. On Sunday, myself or one of the other dads, we have to drive over from our homes and move garbage cans down to the curb because, whatever it is, the collection service won't go up that far. Is there anything we could do with the rec commission to maybe just have your guys get that trash off, from the shed?
We can get,
And
that's
not,
not
it doesn't need to be sanitation, does it?
100%.
It could be you guys, right? And,
It's an easy
and
fix.
we're like with nitro gloves, we're picking up diapers, or, we've had
So,
the police department down there for paraphernalia, so there's, we're doing a lot.
so you keep it in the shed.
We keep the garbage next to the shed, outdoors and big, those drums that can be picked up by Waste Management. Somehow we got our hands on a bunch of those. And they won't get picked up by the regular Monday pickup over there unless they're at the curb. And it's like a logistical thing for, we're just dads trying to coach our kids, and then someone's got to get this garbage down there on a Sunday night. And if we don't, then we have 2 weeks of garbage,
No, that's easy for us. So that's
Yeah.
not a big deal.
We can make note of that, getting you guys down there. I think
Yeah,
it would
let's
be
set
better
that
for the
up.
rec guys. I get the sanitation guys wanna get through their route but, they're often beyond all the weight limits, whatever, what is it, 30 pounds, and they can't reach into the can, like those.
Right, we might wanna come up with better, a lighter can than rather the big
Okay.
things that.
I mean, those
get picked
things
up.
would definitely get red tagged if they were on my
Yeah.
curb, for sure, and I
So,
understand that,
But
so.
we'll figure that out.
Well, I think
Just-
that's an important thing though about each field and the garbage pickup. Like, what day is it?
Yeah,
What can a league reasonably expect from the city when it comes to garbage versus, do
Yeah.
they need purchase a dumpster? Like, what does that look like for each
and that's,
field?
You don't get picked up at Isabel's regularly?
there was another thing, and, I
I mean,
don't wanna
that would be a
stand in the way of
Monday night
progress, I
pickup,
think this is a great thing, and, I'm sorry that I wasn't able to get any of this in an email, we just met Thursday night, so I'm like, I don't wanna stand in the way, I'm looking to get this done with you guys, but, that's another thing, like, some of these guys raise their hand and say, well, why aren't they paying for our dumpster, why are we getting trash? And it's the same thing over at Isabel's, there was all these rules for me to get that garbage picked up by sanitation, and it's like, I'm not even doing the garbage at my house, you know what I mean? And if it's not out on the curb and if it's overweight, they just were driving by it. So, if there's anything we can do there to, get a little bit of extra support, maybe not have these residents, the same requirements that like a home is getting put on them, that these leagues can have a little bit more forgiveness because it is all volunteer based. And we could definitely save on that money to not have a dumpster if we were able to get pickup there twice a week, you know what I mean? But it's just, the garbage is a lot, it's overweight, it's filled with rainwater, no matter what you do, the bag's filled with rainwater. So it's definitely.
Let's see about, getting garbage pails with covers.
Yeah, I mean, they.
No, I mean, that are like built on. I got a couple ideas, so we'll revisit.
Like the
that.
county ones?
Definitely not trying to pick that part of it apart, and don't wanna get hung up on
No,
something
but
simple.
like what happens at Shuttleworth, that's certainly not on a garbage route. Like, do you guys pick up
Yeah, we pick
Shuttleworth?
up the garbage.
Right,
So
so do,
also, that
do they-
could be with soccer too, it's the same thing, and half the time there's litter on the ground because there's no garbage cans around. So I just think that having them at all of the parks would be beneficial with the same kind of agreement, like you're picking up all of the city locations' trash.
Well, there's garbage.
Are they
pails there.
going can to can at Shuttleworth, or are they bagged and in a designated location?
They're bagged.
And so they're all in one spot, and like Mohawk staff will get them in one spot, and then
Yes.
they come?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, no, that's Mohawk, I'm talking about the actual park.
Rec
Like
staff.
Not the,
Rec-
and like the
the Mohawks,
softball league?
there's a dumpster,
Uh-huh.
at the Mohawks.
Okay.
They throw all their stuff in a
Okay.
dumpster. Like the softball league, they put it out in the front, you know what I mean, a couple times a week, and we grab it. We empty the garbage pails there. Throughout the park where there's like pails by the pavilion. I mean, we do, Shuttleworth, we do more, but generally the parks, we do Monday and Friday.
Mhm.
It'd be nice to just make a suggestion, if maybe we could just maintain the cans and have maybe the rec come and just unload right out of the can, you know what I mean? If we have them on every ballard and every dugout.
So the only thing I would say with that is, like, we can't get there five,
No, I
you know what I
understand,
mean, 5 times a week.
Yeah,
So if you're full at night,
yeah, we have to do something.
I mean,
but-
so- and it,
Twice a week,
it might be
once a
just
week.
something as simple as, if you have somebody text me and say, hey, Rob, we put the garbage out tonight,
Yeah,
and we'll get it the
Maybe.
next day.
we definitely a skunk and raccoon problem in the city as a whole, so it's just something a little bit of a concern there, and I don't think
Why
that
not
this
build
is
like
one.
a dugout or like a little, like how Stewart's or something has, like a little small for two,
Thing that's
three pails,
caged in, yeah.
where it's just.
That's what I thought, if you had a shed,
Yeah.
we'd
For
throw a
just the
3210 key on it.
Yeah,
Throw 2 or 3 cans in there and then unload it once a week, just make sure it's put in there.
the dumpsters, it's like almost worth the money because it's just so easy for the league, but it's a huge expense for the league. I mean, just a reoccurring expense too, and the bill comes every month.
A wooden dugout, so.
We can make that work, that'll,
Make it a little easier on the leagues with the trash, maybe.
What if in the beginning part of this, I think what's missing from the very beginning, because you've got the second to last page, you have like the name of the league representative and stuff like that, where they would sign it.
Mhm.
But in the beginning, I think it would be like the name of the league, the representative, the fields, the specific fields that they use, because in your case, you're talking 2 parks. Other people are only talking about 1 park. And then outlining the names of or what the auxiliary buildings are. So if there's any storage or concession building, that they would have access to, putting that there, and then putting something about garbage pickup. And that's all blank, and then you work that out, with the league and before they sign
There's a
it.
detailed plan or agreement built
Yeah,
into the.
Because each field has its own set of circumstances and, and what the soccer league has at vets versus what the baseball league has at vets are two different things as well,
Like
so.
instruction of,
Yeah, and then that can be just
Like a
part of
detailed
that
instruction as
conversation,
well.
yeah,
it could be written out like trash goes here, this, that,
Mhm.
each part,
right, and
Yeah, that's a
even
good
if it's a
idea.
discussion instead of like a,
like directions.
yeah, instead of and then that can become a
That's a great idea.
spreadsheet someday, because I love spreadsheets, but I was thinking about that in the last meeting where I was like, yeah, like, well, that's, who owns the concession stand at Isabel's? Who, I think the soccer league owns their own little concession kiosk, but is that ours, so it can all be just laid out there.
I think once something's built, it's the city's.
Yeah,
Like theirs is actually like a shed, so
It's a
they may,
shed,
they may
yeah.
own that little shed
right,
for soccer.
but we get 10 years down the road on these things and nobody can remember anymore.
Yeah.
So, is that ours, is that theirs?
But yeah, once something is built,
Mhm.
the Little Giants building,
Okay, yeah.
the big.
The Isabel, yeah.
Or the Isabel's concession stand.
Yeah.
Like when Mike leaves, he,
Yeah, I don't get to take that with me.
no, you can't take it with you. But yeah, it's the same thing, if the Mohawks make improvements, it becomes city property.
Mhm.
I think it's good to just cover it, what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't think
Right.
that this is something that our league is held up on specifically, but I think it's just worth noting, and I definitely like your suggestions and maybe getting some type of trash plan put in for each of these fields.
Yeah, that's a good
I think
idea.
it's a good idea.
Yeah, and then you can go back to your league and you guys can make your plans based on what the expectations are from us.
I mean, ultimately, the easiest thing is to put the trash out on Sunday
The
night.
garbage, if it's Sunday.
If, whatever the night is, but then you have to go to the field on
You have to
Sunday.
get somebody up there, and, it's one thing if you're just got done playing and you're covered in red diamond clay and, whatever.
But if you gotta make a
grab some
special trip on
garbage.
Sunday,
But
or
it's
if
Coming
you're
from
retired.
family dinner.
Yeah, just leaving your Sunday dinner, it's been, and we've been getting it covered, but when it's missed over there, it's certainly, missed, the trash piles up quick and people go buy those garbage cans and they walk their dogs, they think they're doing a nice thing, you get a dog bag on top of it, and, it's just a real concern of ours, maybe just look at some support there.
Yeah, we can definitely work that out, and we can definitely,
I mean, if there are
add
approved
thing
cans or
about
something, you wanna work more on the behind the scenes on just getting some cans that work for your guys, we would definitely invest in that. I think we got a bunch of these waste management ones given to us and we're just kind of using them. They're nice with the wheels and they have the built-in cover, they don't really blow over.
they're hard to empty though.
But they
so-
get heavy, for sure.
Yeah, you need the machine.
Yeah.
You can't wheel those over to Miami Avenue and just get them picked up.
Well, we were, before we got the dumpster, we were making sure everything was in one area, but, there's definitely a family of skunks at Isabel's.
Oh.
The dumpster makes sense, it's just a lot of money,
Who do you get the dumpster from?
waste management. And the leagues actually wants us to look into a bigger dumpster if we can't figure out a way to get the trash handled,
County waste.
or maybe that's who I think it is county waste who we're using. I get those mixed up. And I didn't have anything again until AEDs, unless there was another line someone wanted to stop on the way.
No, go, let's address your thing about AEDs.
So, obviously, we all have to invest in safety, right? And the whole AED thing was Kathy Hochul's response to the Mark Hamlin Buffalo Bills incident. We totally understand and, want to be in compliance with New York State. Little League International requires this of us. It only makes sense that the city is documenting it as well. I guess just to give some price points, we have close to $4,000 in units. They're already due to be re-inspected. I have some quotes together from Infinity Vitalis. Chief has been helping us out. The fire chief has been helping us out, put some information together, but we're due to spend more money. Looks like to get people trained is about $75 a person. We need to train at least 35 to 55 members this year, and I just, I think that's just a lot. Amsterdam baseball and I say this humbly, we're sort of leading the way on this, but it would be nice to not have to pick up these costs, because what happens is we're training them, and then these coaches are taking these credentials and using them in all the other sports, which is great, but it's not sustainable for our league, you know? So, I mean, and I understand the budget's tight, and you guys really make a lot happen with very little, you know, and all the resources you have is money that you've raised and things you've worked very hard for, but maybe there's, you know, looking into 2027, is there a way to get someone else involved with funding this training, or?
Well, so our city budget is in the process right now, and I did put a note on my budget. We talked about it at the last meeting, I believe, right?
Yeah, for the collaboration.
Of helping pay for training. What else did we put in there?
Background checks.
Background checks, yeah, we put in money for all those things, and I just put it in as a note. I mean,
Yeah.
whether or not any, you know, follows through, I think I put in $10,000 for somebody to help coordinate between the leagues, background checks, you know, the AED trainings.
Definitely want to be reasonable. I just got to understand, you know, like when Kelly sits here on behalf of the first ward, I'm just here on behalf of the baseball league. You know, we talked, we went over it, and it was a really productive meeting. You know, and I think that is a fair and valid point. You know, we have to maintain these things in order to get involved with our parent program, Little League International, but everything with them is about money too. You know, they want your assessment fee, they want your chartering fee, they want your tournament fee, and then they want you to use their approved equipment, and it's all based on who's their biggest advertiser that year in the Little League World Series, you know, and then here the Little Leagues are footing the bill for a lot of this stuff, you know, and definitely want to continue to invest in safety, but it's just not sustainable for any program, soccer, girls, softball, basketball, to do this stuff on their own, you know, and I think that community involvement and some type of, like, you know, shared devices or getting these all on some type of certification plan and timeline, I think would be appropriate if we could get some help. You know, these are
Right.
city programs.
Even if we charged a fee, you know, a yearly fee, there'd be so much less than what you
Yeah,
are paying.
you know, and these leagues are vital to the community,
Yeah.
right? I mean, what young parent's gonna stay in Amsterdam without Little Giants football, without boys baseball, without girls softball? So, I mean, I think that everyone is.
So, like you said, we sent out, I think we brought it to the last meeting too, or 2 meetings ago, the law from New York State stating that the league is required to have an AED on site for any team, any league that has more than 4 teams in it, an AED must be on site.
For every game,
For every
every
game.
practice, every team-related event.
Which is, you know, a little burdensome to say the least.
These pads expire every
And it
2 years,
says
you know,
that, you know, there must be one trained person.
there to use it.
Now, you know,
Look at the
I don't know
liability there.
who wrote that, the way they wrote it,
Yeah,
but they make it, you know, you can say, oh, you only gotta train 2 people and have them go to, that's not realistic, obviously.
yeah, people get sick.
So you most likely have to train every coach because they're the only person who's gonna be at each game.
And I don't think Michelle's gonna pop out of the bleachers and say, hey, who here is AED trained? I don't
Right,
expect you guys
so
to be
it's-
picking on us, but these are, you know,
So,
we operate, I feel like the baseball and soccer programs are a function of the city government, right? I mean, so I think it's only makes sense that we all work together to make sure we're in compliance here with these things, you know?
so
Maybe just don't leave.
the way it says is, the city of Amsterdam does not have to enforce the law. You know, we're not going to the games and checking.
Exactly.
You just have to sign off that you're gonna follow
Doing our
the
best to,
procedure.
yeah, for sure. And I guess while we want to be compliant, and it would be nice to have some help there too, or some type of, maybe we can make that a note to continue to make that a topic item, an agenda item
Yeah.
until it's resolved. You know, keep that on the agenda every month and make sure we're talking about AEDs and training. And, you know, if we can get one of these local vendors involved as some type of sponsor, you know, to do all these youth leagues across the city. And, you know, and ultimately it's not just to be compliant, but one day we maybe will save a life in it.
Right.
That would be, you know, a good thing to have made the investment, you know, instead of just saying, well, we're not gonna really, you know, like I said, I know you guys aren't gonna come pick on us about it, but we wanna do the right thing too, you know? So, and ultimately, if you Google Little League lawsuits, look who's getting sued all the time. It's the league president or, you know, the coach or whatever. It's not gonna be, you know, the rec commission head, you know, so.
But like you said too, if there's 30 coaches in baseball or whatever the number might be, you know, a lot of the same people coach a lot of the same sports.
Yeah.
So if you're paying for it, that means the other league isn't. But if there was a system in place where the city was willing to, and we talked about that, and I think I did, I know I put it in my budget as a, you know, as a note that this is something that we may want to include, but we can further that discussion based on this conversation as well. What are your thoughts, Kelly, about, I mean, it's not a
I have lots of thoughts.
extent, you know, it's not
Yeah.
a huge amount of money, but,
No.
I know
I
putting
think
that,
the coordination is just really important. The money, this is something we need to invest in, but the coordination, we can go so far with helping through the coordination because most of our teams, like, there's a parent that's a nurse or a fireman or, you know, the police chief, and like, you know how to use those, or like you've been background checked or things like that. So are we paying for duplicate things, or do we have a health parent on each team that says, hey, like, I either have that or I'm gonna be the one that gets certified for it, and if I'm not gonna be at the game, I'm gonna make sure I say something about it, or, you know, something like that, where we can, but it would be like a lot of collaboration that we can all talk about a little bit
Think
more.
that-
I do have a quick question, and I don't know if you know this, and sorry, Mike, I didn't mean to
Go ahead,
interrupt
no.
you. What I know, you know, the softballs and stuff, are all parents, and mostly parents who are being trained, their kids play other sports?
Yeah.
How long is the AED, like, do they have to do it every year? And
So
what if
2
we don't,
years.
2 years? So then, if we already know that they're AED, because we don't wanna multiply it, because most of the parents are doing multiple other
right,
sports.
we'd have to find out what team, you know, so if somebody, when teams are chosen, oh, you know what you could do actually,
The registration.
on the registration form,
You could say if you're.
we could ask.
Are you
Yeah.
AED certified? I
Would you
believe
be a
that we
health,
are.
Would
because
you-
if you're
yeah, would you
talking
be
about
a-
a game too, and both teams have a health parent or whatever, say parent A can't come, they would just make sure the other team's parent's gonna be there, and they just know they're the
They're the
AED,
ones,
they're the
yeah.
first aid, they're the one that's calling 911, like whatever it is, like.
Because I know multiple parents, you know, including
Yeah.
ourselves, you guys, everybody, our kids all play all different sports, right?
Mhm.
And they're all, you know, my husband's a coach, you're a coach, and we all are doing the same thing, so we should know who is already trained. If you have 2 years, that's 2 years, you don't have to worry about paying for that person to be trained.
Mm-hmm.
Tracking on it, I think would definitely be good, you know, and most guys will be truthful with where they are, but but, I mean, I definitely made the same point, but because I feel that we're sort of leading the way, we were the first program, you know, to get involved with this, and I remember calling a few people, I'm like, oh, I never heard of that, I'm like, well, it's coming, be ready, it's coming, be ready, and
Yeah.
we went and did it, and, you know, close to $4,000 in equipment, and, you know, at the time, we got a really good deal on training, but I don't think we're gonna be able to get it.
Do you have 3 AEDs?
We have 3 AEDs, yeah, just got a quote to replace the pads, one needs a battery. Looking at setting up training in July, you know, so we're updated for fall. You know, it's just a big financial undertaking, and not only that, it's another logistical nightmare for just a volunteer dad who wants to do baseball to manage, you know. As much as you can have a safety parent, we even have a safety officer, and he does a great job, very knowledgeable guy. But it's just a lot to track on top of, you know, ultimately, we're just kind of regular Joes here doing our best, you know. It's great to have this commission to, I think, lean on and have, you know, Alderwoman DeMar's offer to do the spreadsheet on it, but we have to get it organized, you know, it's,
Is
I
it
have an
possible to do something like 2 times a year where the city puts out like, hey, we're gonna do the AED training today, and maybe they can offer background checks for like a discounted rate? If there's more people doing it at one time, possibly that's something that could be looked into.
Yeah,
And then it's like, instead of just having it designated to each sport, it could be anyone that plans to volunteer for the whole year at one thing.
a lot of it, like AED training is not something that like, my guys don't teach it, or Chief Agresta's guys.
2 hours training.
Yeah, but we would use a vendor, and that's how we do it with our, even, I have the officers that have to get recertified, I use the same outside vendor.
Yeah.
We could provide training space, like the training room or something like that. And then same thing with background checks, it's not something that we do, the databases that the police use are not for that.
Yeah.
You're not allowed.
You're suggesting like a clinic type
I'm saying
thing,
like a
like, yeah.
clinic
Yeah,
where you
no,
offer it
we
as
use
like a
the-
big
You know what I
group
was
instead of-
gonna suggest too, is on the forms, like the application forms, like you were saying for that other thing, maybe they could, put down like an area where they would, if you're interested in, becoming someone certified like that, and then, you were saying you have like vendors that do it, doesn't, the Red Cross do stuff like that too?
Yeah, that's where your card comes from, or the
Yeah.
American Heart Association, Red Cross.
Cause I know that a lot of times they'll go and they'll do things like that.
Yeah. And also it's hard, like with an AED, so not to put you on the spot, but what do you do at Whispering Pines? Cause there's no building there, there's no.
Well, it's in the shed and all the coaches have a key,
Okay,
you know what I mean? But again, is it 100% bulletproof plan? I mean, the reality is my AED plan, my written plan is just a plug and play thing that I pull off, what is the name of the organization? And does, every now and then, does the head coach miss a practice? Is he the one with the key? Did the assistant coach get the key? Is
right,
the door, we had the AED signs, part of the AED laws that the building needs a clear signage.
Mhm.
The signs get ripped off at vets. I installed that sign 100 times and then it got coincidentally ran over by the mower there, so.
no, and I agree, cause it is even, and I'll say this even from my own audit, the police department is a secure building,
Yeah.
but still, the AED has to be readily available, so it can't be like, oh, if the chief isn't there or the lieutenant's not there, it can't be in my office.
Yeah, I
Can't be
think
in his office, it's
the law
gotta be.
states within 2 minutes of the.
Right. So, I mean, right, and most of the fields have a shed per se, is probably your lowest level of security, not like Isabel's has a secure building that can be open while people are there, but you're right.
Yeah.
You're
And the
you're
other
running
thing,
the
there's
left
all
field.
these other, again, I don't wanna stand in the way of progress here, but those things need to be in temperature controlled environments. If you look at the model we have, it can't be above 90 degrees. And what do I do? I mean, do I leave the beach to go get that AED out of the shed, cause I'm the president?
Oh, it's 89.
Yeah,
Oh,
or
no,
go
yeah,
bring
sure.
that thing in, there's just a lot of stuff to really cover. And again, I know that you guys aren't gonna pop out but I don't want anyone to ever come back to these leagues even after I've moved on and say, hey, why weren't you doing this? I think it's our job to make sure we're looking at all the logistical problems involved with this new law. I think it's just it wasn't really well thought out, to put this on all the youth leagues. And I think it's our responsibility to figure it out and make sure we're doing our best to set everyone up for success, right?
Yeah, I don't think anything we come up with in this 3-page document is gonna
Yeah. And I
outline.
want to, you've
every
been great to
scenario,
work with,
you
I'm
know what I
not at
mean?
all trying to be a filibuster this thing.
So I think we'll, we're just gonna put forth a document, and just what you said, that outlines what we're hoping to do. And when you're gone and I'm gone, the next person gets this document and says, okay, this is pretty good. We're gonna use this. Let's tweak it a little
Yeah.
bit. You know what I mean? I got a better idea, but at least it's 3 pages of, hey, we're gonna check on with the Little League
And I would sign it on behalf of the league the way it is, but.
twice a year and
we
say,
could
hey,
just-
send us your bank statements.
Yeah,
And when are your elections? We wanna get everybody involved and,
I would say keep that AED thing on our agenda though until we get somewhere with it is all I'm suggesting on behalf of the league.
No, I think this is like so much better than the first draft. You guys really hit a lot of the targets. My question on the one above it though, the board meetings, is 8 too many board meetings?
Is that,
I kind of,
Like I was thinking 4.
I think 8 is a lot. I was gonna comment on that.
And you probably
You
have
think
like the
8 is a
most
lot?
board meetings and I
Well,
think.
Here, can I just give you our timeline from 2025?
Yeah.
We met in January, February, and March. We held a coaches meeting in March. Then we played all the way through into fall. We held a like a non-official opening day, like organizational effort meeting. So heading into the end of spring, we had 4 official meetings with a coaches meeting. Then we didn't meet again at all, right, until it was November
'Cause you're
season
doing
recap.
the baseball thing.
And we made a bunch of, like, motions and to make a purchase and did a lot of online voting and there's all, email trail, all in favor of buying a wheelbarrow from, or whatever, we're able to do that stuff in today's day and age. But I
Yeah,
think that 8 meetings.
I was going back to the olden days when I ran the league and I was thinking we met about 10 times during the year. We took
Yeah,
December off and maybe one other.
A lot of it's done
during the
online.
summer, but yes, I guess there are better ways to communicate than when I was doing it.
8 just seemed like a lot to me. I don't know, especially like, I mean, for basketball, if you're just playing, and you have summer too, but like if it's a league that's only playing like one season.
I just figured baseball
Do they
is
need to meet
spring
every
and fall, soccer spring and
Yeah.
fall.
It's a big time commitment to put that on everybody. I'm glad that, I thought that was later on in the thing. And,
I mean, I've,
we've already hosted 4 clinics. We had a coaches meeting. We had 2 board meetings so far. And then, to try to hit another bunch of.
We just wanna make
numbers.
sure they're meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think quarterly is adequate.
As long as you're hitting 4 a year
Yeah.
or.
This is going back to the AEDs. Montgomery County Public Health offers training free to the public. Amsterdam youth activities can't be the only group that struggles. You have up-county teams, soccer, softball, baseball, that they're gonna be in the same situation. So would it be possible to reach out to Montgomery County and see if they would coordinate something for the entire county?
yeah, that's a great
All of the
idea.
coaches?
I didn't know they did that.
Yeah,
That's great.
only because if it's a hardship for you guys and you have a bigger pool of money, the little towns and
Yeah,
villages
Fort Plain.
We're playing,
Yeah.
or Camp
that
Harry.
don't have
It's been a
that
big issue for all those presidents. We work all together.
Yeah,
Mhm.
There's like a big interleague drama, like some teams won't go over there. Oh, they're not compliant. I won't play there.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
definite, something to look into, because that would be,
And they do it right at their, or do they go to
they
the?
do it right at the sheriff's office, they have a big conference room, so they
Oh, yeah,
open it up to, whatever capacity they have, I think there's 25 of them
Awesome.
that they do that. And they do like infant and adult
Oh, that's great.
training.
Thank you.
yeah, we'll look into that tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm with
So-
Kelly though. I think 4 is a good number.
You think 4 is a good number? I agree. If you guys wanna be lax, we'll go with 4.
4, that's board
Four
meetings.
is,
Or board meeting.
we can have 8
For an
spreadsheets,
online meeting.
4 meetings.
You gotta contact the Daily Bugle on there too. You gotta make sure it gets to the local newspaper.
And the happy.
Just send it to us and we'll send it to the media list.
The long list.
It's-
No, that's good. What else did anybody catch or add or edit?
So can I just talk about a few other things, and I'm sorry. The election of officers, every 2 years, the election must be publicized, open to all individuals. Now, we've implemented a nomination process, and I just want to make sure it's okay, and if it's,
Yeah.
we're in an election year, so I want to make sure it's okay. So in order to run for a position in our league, you need to be nominated by an active coach or an active board member. And we just want your permission to go ahead and continue with that. So anyone, it would still be open to anybody off the street, but you would need to receive a nomination by somebody who's active in the league, by being a head coach or holding a board position. And that is currently close to like all combined over 30 or 40 people that could potentially nominate someone.
They have to be nominated by a coach, you said?
They would have to be nominated.
By an
Right
active.
now, the way it's written for us is an active head coach or an active current board member must nominate any potential candidate. And then once you're nominated, you're in the race.
What's everybody think of that? I'm trying to think of the pros and cons of that.
Of nominating someone?
Does that keep,
Right, is it restrictive to
That's-
someone
yeah.
who, isn't gonna get a nomination, or?
Well, I think it just kind of, it keeps people who are like-minded around, and I think it keeps the league going in a direction that, I don't think it's a deterrent to keep anyone who would be a ball of energy away, but I think it's more of a deterrent to just keep anyone from making a mockery of the election. We're talking about a little league election that, and you guys are well aware how things can go, and I think it just kind of, it's just one more form of betting, in my opinion.
I think 2 things about that. On the plus side, you have a great board in place, you have a great president in place, and, somebody knows 5 other people or whatever the number is, and you don't want to upset the apple cart. So it's great to say, we got this set where, you know, nobody's coming in from the outside. We're gonna keep status quo. We're gonna, you know, vote the way we want and keep everybody in. On the downside, if a certain league is not being run properly and there needs to be turnover, but a small group of people control the board and the coaches,
Well, the
They
coaches
can
all
keep-
would have the
they
right
can
to
keep-
nominate.
positive change out of the league.
Yeah.
That's,
You can offer like a petition, so you get parents and people involved in the league to sign like a paper, like if someone wants to run for office, right, you have to do a petition, you go door to door. So
It's
you get-
almost like kind of just the
But if you get,
brief way of doing it would be the nomination, right? I mean, and you have,
but you go to individual parents like that feels like I would ask her for a nomination to be a president for something because her opinion is valid, how she feels about something, she might tell me no.
I'm just trying to
Right,
think
so
of
And you can get people to vote that way,
the
because if you get
group, you know, just say,
petition list.
John's awful, but John's popular. He runs basketball.
But I'm
I
awful.
can't run, I can't nominate. The guy's the best guy in the
But I'm
world.
awful. So,
No, I'm just saying,
you know
you're
what I
not
mean?
awful. I'm
No, I'm
using you
just
as the
saying.
example, I'm sorry.
Well, I
But
guess,
he's bad.
yeah, what you're heading on is we've seen in every league, all change is hard. So whether it's someone that's been there for many years and people don't want to be the person who nominates someone else, there could be other, like, yes, if you could say, hey, if you could get 25 signatures from other people, then you can get on the ballot.
as some
Or-
type of other.
Or someone could, let's say, come to, I want to run girls softball, but I don't know the people, they won't nominate me. But I could come to the rec committee and petition myself and then maybe get their endorsement to run, something like that.
I like that. That's a fair idea. Then you have the people, the constituents that are
Right.
running it to say, you know what, I think he does deserve a fair chance, or get the hell out of here. One or the
I'm
other.
just thinking, you know, you run the Little League and you happen to employ 6 people that are coaches in the league and they go, no, we're not, we can't nominate
So,
someone.
well, and the other thing would be, baseball has a lot of teams now, you have a lot of coaches, so hopefully you have a
Yeah,
big
right.
enough pool.
You have coaches that would,
But you run into a smaller league, I mean, there were years where the baseball league shrunk, there was only 4 teams. So then you've got,
then it would be
then you've
harder,
only
yeah.
got 4 people that are comfortable fielding nominations.
I understand what
And
you're
it
saying.
helps with the other, like they said, having someone sign something, it helps that person if they really want to run, because there's been times where people were nominated and they didn't even want the position. So that's what I'm saying, it's good, that,
Certainly
No.
was a little bit of that in the last go around.
but I'm just saying that we need
They won't
to, it would help them and everybody figure out, you know, if this person really wants to run or not.
Ultimately, any candidate would need to be approved by the commission, right? That's in the rule set here, didn't I see that written at one
Well,
point?
I think if we change to something like this, I don't know that we would need oversight
Okay,
other than the process.
just the process,
Yeah,
okay.
so we just want to make sure that they have a fair election,
Yeah.
not,
I mean, we can get rid of the nomination thing, but I just kind of thought that it made it like, you know, I'm
You have to get 25 signatures from parents in the league or something to be eligible. to-
definitely proud of our work, but it's not 100% unified in Amsterdam. There are people that would love to nominate another president, this, I'm sure, you know, and that will. It's just the way it is, you know, so I'm not, with their abilities to do so under the way we have it written.
My only thought is that it might keep a good person out, or on the other hand, it might keep a bad person in.
Yeah. Okay.
That's why I think I don't want to say anybody should be able to run. Probably anybody should be able to run.
yeah, it's tough.
Should there be a petition? Should there be?
I mean, that just keeps-
These
Do we
these
wanna get that
elections are a
into it?
lot of work on top of it, though. You gotta keep things secure, you have to make yourself available. In the last go-around, we voted for 3 nights, and we counted on a 3rd day, you know, and there was a big ordeal because of, you know, where was the lockbox, who had the keys, where are the ballots? I mean, we had a pretty legitimate election if
Yeah, I
you
remember.
remember, you know what I mean? And we did our best. And then if we want to, I like the petition idea, but it's just another hurdle, you know?
Yeah,
It's
I
just
get it.
another- That's why it's like,
I'm just thinking of a.
you have
another-
22 head coaches, male and female, you have 15 current active board members. Some of that is a duplication of effort, you know, I'm a head coach and also a board member, so maybe that goes down to 21, so on and so forth. But you have, you know, close to 30 people with the ability to nominate
I just had, my thought was, I put 60 days in there. Your election is November 1st. On September 1st, you send an email to us, hey, our elections are scheduled for November 1st. We can put out, information to the public. There's gonna be a meeting on October 1st, whatever it is. And anybody interested in running for office needs to attend that meeting and declare their intentions. I wanna run for president, I wanna run for treasurer.
I'm not hung up
And
on
then,
it, I just
and
want to
then
see
it's
what
30
you
days and you have the election.
We gonna keep the ballots here this year?
And I think that, but I just think,
I have to watch them.
you know what, and I think there's a lot less chance of good people being voted out of office.
Yeah.
As there is of someone who may not be doing as well a job as we might hope they're doing, staying in office.
Yeah.
Because I know going against somebody is really difficult. You know what I mean? Like, listen, like I said, I'm just gonna keep
Look
using.
at our alderman elections. I mean, not this year, but the year before, everybody was unopposed.
Right, you know what I mean? So
And not everybody likes what we're doing, but going against someone is hard.
it's hard, right, to say,
Get rid of Kelly.
I love
Price.
John, I love, but
Love you too.
I wanna run against him.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to go, John loves what he's doing,
Not
but
just John.
I'm gonna be the guy who tell him, hey, you're not doing really good, I think I gotta run against you. I mean, it's hard to do, so I just think making that harder for somebody to do is not what we want to do, if that makes sense.
Okay, I just wanted clarification on how much, I want to make sure that we hold an election that it's upheld by the commission, so just wanted to ask that question.
John, we're just going over any thoughts and ideas that people have about, we talked about AED, and a possible training by the county came up, they do free training for AED. We're talking about election of officers and the best way to make that work. Whether somebody needs to be nominated by an existing person in the league, or they can just declare they want to run. We had suggestions to change the board meetings from 8 board meetings to 4 for the year. And I think that's pretty much it, other than some talk about garbage pickup, which was something that we'll do.
And identifying which fields.
Yeah,
for
yeah,
each one. Yeah.
So moving on, what else do we have? We talked about budget. We want to see everybody's budget. We want to make sure there's a document in place that outlines, the goals for the year, what they anticipate taking in, and spending, right? I know you do that already. We want to talk about training officers properly and doing background checks on them, officers and coaches. What's expected of them, give them a little guidance, because the dad or the mom who is coaching a sport, and they may not have, a prerequisite for coaching is not that you can go coach a Major League Baseball team. It's how do you handle kids? How do you make them have a good time when they're there? Teach them to enjoy themselves. Teach them about, trying their best. But you also want to have them know how to hold a bat and where to throw the ball. So we want to incorporate all those things into, a preseason day or two with everybody who's involved.
So something that's not on that section that I think could be talked about is, it seems like some of the leagues kind of keep the children in the same positions without switching it up as far as playtime and stuff like that. And I've actually heard from a few kids that are my son's age that they're actually giving up specific sports because they were always placed in a position that they didn't have interest in, and it didn't seem like they were moved around enough. But that kind of goes with playtime and stuff like that. I don't know that there's designated amounts of times that each child should be able to play each game, but it might be something that should be thought about.
Do I have anything in here about playing time or no? I don't think I do, now that I'm thinking about it. So I know, I don't know if it's the same, so correct me if I'm wrong. In basketball, it was everybody had to sit a quarter. I'm going back now when
Yeah,
we did it. Everybody had to sit a quarter.
Play for a minimum,
we have to play for a minimum.
sit for a minimum of 10 and play for a minimum of 15 is the way John has it written now.
Right,
which is,
so
I think,
that's
a great
basically
rule.
the same thing that we had. And then in baseball, it was everybody bats, right?
Yeah, it's roster batting.
Roster batting, and everybody had to play 3 out of 6 innings in the field.
And everyone,
So should that just be outlined in their bylaws? Everybody
That-
has to have
I
a
mean, that-
playtime outlined, right? And
But as
then-
far as moving people around, like if you're playing, in the outfield the whole time, it's not supposed to be winning, which a lot of the leagues have gone to. It's more practicing and trying to get the skill level there. So it's hard for kids that aren't moved into the infield or, soccer for offense or whatever. It's hard for them to learn that position if they never have the opportunity to play it.
Is that something like maybe a parental request to like the board to kind of help speak that over to coaches or something like?
I
It's a
would,
difficult position to sometimes with.
I think that's, listen, I have,
It's tough.
I moved everywhere, I think, I agree with you, just so you know.
Yeah, I don't know how you codify
But
that.
that's what I'm saying, I don't know how, but maybe make it a type of suggestion where we could add something.
Like if a parent's,
See each individual league for playing time requirements,
or if a parent has a complaint about playing time.
but there's also safety involved too, in a lot of instances where,
Right.
Parents don't always want to
you
play
can't
though,
put a
or
kid on
tell
the
the
mound,
coach
or
how
you
to
can't
coach the
put
team.
somebody that can't protect
They just kind of
themselves
want it there.
at first base or something.
Maybe bring it to the council's, like awareness, and then maybe that can help convey it across.
I
Where
think
they
that
can
would be enough. I don't know if it necessarily needs to be in here, but I think it's something that needs to be thought about at every
Because
league.
positions do
Well, I
matter.
think it's sometimes sports specific too.
Yeah.
Right, and baseball's one of those sports
Yeah.
where, yes, you don't want to be plunked in right field all the time.
Yeah.
You want an opportunity to play shortstop or first
Yeah.
base where you're getting a lot of action. Some other sports, as you mentioned, are sometimes, it could be dangerous to put somebody in a particular position.
I think it helps, like baseball, again, back to they have that, over that mother group that they're part of, like Little League. Little League of America, they set those rules. Baseball's huge with pitch count, because you got, kids that are 8, 9 years old, you can't throw more than 50 pitches or something like that. So that's when you say codify, that rule is codified in Little League of America, or it's codified in USA Soccer or USA Football. That's where those rules come from.
I don't know if it has to be a specific rule, but as a parent, it's just a suggestion. I've heard firsthand from kids that are not playing baseball anymore because they felt like they didn't get enough time doing something that somebody else was constantly doing, like first base, shortstop, third base, whatever, the action positions. With that being said, and this is just nothing specific to you with baseball, but my sons have V as the last name. So a lot of times they were always the last to bat, and then it wouldn't pick up from where they left off. So I just think that's something to be mentioned too. They basically would always hit the ball, go to first base, and then they'd be done. So instead of switching it up, so maybe the last person that's batting, maybe is the first the next
Right, is
time
lead
or
off,
something
right.
like that, yeah.
I got you.
I think though, I think Chief is correct that, a Little League sets rules for that, I'm sure. And yes, I do think that I would say if the fourth batter And especially in T-ball and rookie, I think that's the way to go, where
Yeah,
the batting
you bat
order
right
is the
through.
same every week. Oh, you bat right through.
You
If
bat
the third out is
That's right.
achieved, you start off where you left.
That's what we did, yeah. So if you get 3 outs, even in rookie, like if the 4th batter made the last out of the game,
The fifth batter.
the 5th batter leads off the next game. I always thought that was a good way to do it. And the kids would always remember, oh, Michelle's up, I'm up after Michelle all year long. You never have to
Right.
think about it. But those are, I don't want to get into micromanaging either. But yeah, I think there's,
Well, I think,
beneficial ways to
and
do it.
to your point, then I guess if we just made it as the committee, or the commission, that like you said, sometimes parents don't wanna come forward, then yeah, if they make an appeal to the league and they get nowhere, then they should be comfortable in knowing that they could come here. We could be the next.
I don't think it's like a vindictive thing that they're doing it. I just think that sometimes when it's.
Oh, I
not
know,
their
absolutely, yeah,
child being
people-
affected,
people wanna
they
win.
don't-
No,
They
I
aren't
get
aware of
that.
it, so I just think bringing it up would be something to do. That's
I
all.
definitely, my response is try to develop 2 position players. If you got a kid that's gonna play in right field and he's a weaker link in the team, he's gotta come touch first base for at least 3 outs a game, right? So he's a 2 position player. He plays right and his secondary position is first base.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to trickle that in, and it's definitely a culture thing, right?
Yeah,
Some guys wanna win and some guys lack that ability to say, listen, it's a 1-run game, but my 2 position player out in right field hasn't touched first base yet. I need to go for this win here in this inning.
but
And they're
then
not,
also
they're not
rec league
win-
is different.
that
than
definitely
travel,
exists.
So it's just something that.
Yeah.
but I think Rob uses a good word too, you get into micromanaging these teams, at what point is it like, does the league, when the coaches are given the opportunity to coach, it's a really hard line to toe, and you definitely make good points that, I think that the language I try to use in baseball is develop 2 position players. You can't bury someone out in right field every game, they have to touch the infield dirt, and we can't, in the rookies division, you can't play the same position more than 3 innings. And typically it's a 4 to 5 inning game, so that makes everyone rotate, but you can rotate from center to left field.
How many outfielders are there, 3 or 4?
At that age, would be 4, and if the teams are big and we don't have an extra coach, we had teams of 13 players last year, and do you sit those kids down, or do you
4
play?
and 4, you can do
play with a bunch of
infield,
outfielders?
outfield. You can make,
Yeah.
3 in,
Yeah.
that's why I asked if it was 3 or 4 for the outfield. So you could say, you know what, 3 innings infield, 3 innings outfield.
Yeah,
Each player gotta play 3 innings in and out.
and you're up against the time limit, it's not always so.
Yeah, I don't do baseball
I've seen
and I don't
improvements,
micromanage,
though.
so
I mean, I was that
get it.
girl who got stuck in the outfield in like 4th grade. I never played infield my
Yeah.
entire life. And now when I'm on these coaching teams, I'm like, wow,
The Disney movie,
yeah. I
never
know.
played infield.
And here I am, the princess now, but now I'm like, oh, that's how you play first base. I'm watching these coaches coach and I'm like, oh, that's cool. And I'm seeing, the kids getting that and everybody's practicing playing second base. Everyone's practicing playing first base. I really have seen improvements.
It's a culture thing.
Yeah, and the
One thing I
cultural
try to say
shift.
is,
So if we
you
can
all
just
wear
keep
that A on our
saying
hat.
that at that game,
Yeah.
at that coaching meeting or whatever, and we just keep pushing it.
Do our job to make sure that we're promoting development and
Yeah.
getting players involved. You never know, you have a kid now that's 6 years old and he's in the bottom 50th half percentile. When that kid is 13 or 14, you don't know what he could be, and, I've seen it now that I have a 14-year-old at home. I've seen those kids come from batting 8th to now one of the best 14-year-olds in the class. It does happen, and you just got to keep showing up and telling your kid that, if you have one of those coaches that's not doing the right thing, support him best you can. And I think the leagues are trying and trending in the right direction there, and having those conversations. It's great that, you have the commission to fall back on too. If you approach the league and don't get the answers you want.
So that's another thing. I feel like a lot of normal people like myself don't even know about this.
I'm normal.
commission. Well, I'm just saying, I'm like speaking on behalf of the parents
Yeah.
mostly, but, I'm close with Michelle. I talk about sports stuff all the time, and I only found out about this rec commission 2 months ago. So I feel like putting it out there so more parents can be involved, and that's even asking for more volunteers, I think. And I know this isn't just about sports, but it's about recreation as a whole. So I just think that having it out there a little bit more would be good. Which brings me to my next point of the city website that needs to be looked at. You can't find sports on it. So I think that we need to kind of have a conversation about that as well, maybe having a youth sports tab right on the city website.
Well, there is a youth sports tab
but
on
you
there.
can't find it. It needs to be it needs to be a mobile version and a computer version where you can go in and find it without searching it on Google. It should just be one of the tabs.
So unfortunately, it is one of the tabs, but there's just so much on there. But I agree that
I just think it
there's
needs
gotta be
its
an
own
easier
space.
way, a shortcut way to get
Yeah.
to.
But with that being said, with this whole discussion that's happening right now, I think it would almost be beneficial to you guys as a committee to say, hey, we're focusing on this. We want positive change. We want there to be better programs for the youth in Amsterdam. Right now, the parents are frustrated because we aren't seeing what's happening behind the scenes. And if we don't know about the meetings or about the discussions, we just think that nothing's happening. So I think that maybe some kind of like branding revamp on the youth sports would be beneficial, and it could be as simple as just posting about it on the Facebook page, saying like, hey, we're talking about, you know, the agreements between the leagues. We're evaluating each league to make sure it's up to par, and we're partnering with them to make a better outcome. I just think that that's something that people would like to know, and I think it would be beneficial for you guys as a committee as well.
I think we could do that with one of the other bullet points here, if we moved to an app or a collection of apps, because I can't go a day without receiving an email from Amsterdam Youth Baseball.
Yeah,
But because that way, that's the easiest way where you can just take a CSV file of everyone's email, and then we could put it out through, if we had an account or access to it. Hey, your kid plays softball and maybe, you know, does basketball too. Here you go, here's an email. Monthly rec committee meeting is this day.
or even just push it out through the school, because all of the kids are.
To
on
Parent
that.
Square?
Yeah, through
There you
Parent
go.
Square, then we would, every
I
person
do
that
that
has
pretty,
kids
I
would see it.
pretty routinely with
No, I mean,
our
you-
rec programs.
You,
Yeah.
you post a ton
Yeah.
about the sports
I know,
stuff, I'm saying
I'm told I
like
post.
recreational sports stuff as a
Right.
whole, just saying that you're focusing on it and that you're trying to make it better than it is now, I think it would make a lot of people happy.
I don't know, I think a goal of ours, I think we've been together eight years, headed for 9 years or whatever. And I think one of the goals we set back then was, you know, we started a Facebook page with 0 followers. And I remember the conversations we had was to make the recreation department Facebook page and social media pages like the go-to spot when you wanted to find out something that was going on in the city. And, you know, Michelle's got that up to 25,000 between all of our pages. And I do think most people know, you know what I mean? If you want to find something out, to go on our Facebook page. And I could be totally wrong, but I mean, I think every league shares their stuff, you know, on a regular basis with us. And like I said,
I'm
I
just
know.
saying, not everyone has Facebook.
I know,
So
no,
that's
so
why
the
pushing
point
out
I'm,
with
the point I wanted to
parents,
make though, is if everything goes on Facebook and everything goes in the paper, like, I'm just saying, I don't know what more we can do to
Well, you can put it on
get the word
website.
out to people, is what I'm saying. Like, our press releases go to about 85 different people, right? I'm not exaggerating. That encompasses radio, newspaper, television, and that's every single press release that goes out. So I'm like, I just don't know how to reach.
Any registration form that we get, like when Mike tells us that they're doing signups for baseball, when I see your signups for basketball, we save those registration forms and the links and we send it to all the media. We send it to our entire media list. It's up to them if they wanna put it out there and stuff, but any
So
type,
when you say media list, what is that?
so that's all news, radio,
TV
stations,
radio
it's
stations,
where we send all of our press
newspapers,
releases, anything that
social
they
media
have,
people.
like even softball, every registration form that comes out, I'll
Push.
take it and I'll link it to our media list and send it out to everybody. Cause I do know that the website is a little not the best source.
Well, I just feel
For
like it would
that.
take a lot to put an additional tab there for anyone that wants to go and search for it directly.
I think, well, listen, we always get calls and somebody will say, hey, you know, do you have youth baseball? And we, you know, those calls are few and far between. But there are people who don't know, what's going on or what season it is, and we're happy to, when they call in and ask questions, that's a no-brainer. But as far as like the outreach, the website is the website. I mean, I think each individual department has kind of done their own kind of thing, right? You guys use Nixle, you guys have your own Facebook.
Yeah, Nixle's different.
No, I know, it's not meant for things like this.
Yeah,
But I'm saying you have your own avenue to reach
yes,
people.
yeah.
You have your own Facebook page, we have our own.
You gotta boost your numbers. The PD page has more followers than 25,000,
Uh-oh.
so.
You're slacking. Wow, he threw down a gauntlet.
feel like I'm gonna look at that now, check it.
Google us.
If it would be possible, kind of like, and I think we talked about this the last meeting, like we use Arbiter. If there is a single platform that could be used by every rec program, so at the very least, it would just be one-stop shopping.
Right.
You've already got a kid in the database, and then all you have to do is select the correct program.
So I called Arbiter, and if you have a contact that you use, because they never called me back, and we mentioned two, and I called and emailed both of them, and nobody ever called me
I have a
back.
direct line for Sports Connect. They answer the phone, from 9 AM to
Send me
6
that,
all
will you
day,
please?
yeah.
Amsterdam Sports app.
I think the only problem with that idea is getting the bank account separated. I don't know that you.
Well, that's one of the questions I was gonna ask, so, and, who the heck, I don't remember, we were at the game, or I don't know where we were. And somebody mentioned Arbiter again.
Arbiter's a great, we're using it for our umpires. It's a great app.
And congratulations, by the way, on a great season and
I know, it was awesome.
an exciting run.
It was.
Did you miss that layup? You playing?
I missed plenty of layups, so if I were in any of those games, we wouldn't have advanced, I can assure you.
Well, and you and I talked, I don't think they realize what they did to bring that our community together. And we talked about it
Incredible.
today. I haven't seen that type of engagement in a city, in a community, in a county in a very long time. So
Yeah, that
the
was
staff
good.
and the team should be very
The
proud
dinners, the
of what they
traveling.
did. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
it was
they brought people
incredible.
together.
When they came home, almost every fire department in Montgomery County was here, to share.
Escorting them
So-
back. That was really cool, yeah.
I think they should be,
You did a great job of sharing all that stuff too. I think every update,
Yeah.
every score that went out, I think was really cool. That
The dancing.
was promoted on your page.
I just keep picturing the
Did
dancing.
you build a city for it?
Dance.
The mayor was with us.
The Rams are down 3 a dance.
Yeah,
still
so put your
dancing at the
mileage in?
time.
no, not Saturday.
Oh, no.
So what,
Yeah,
for the
put that
baseball,
mileage
what
in,
app,
girl.
Ryan? What's connected Blue Sombrero?
So Blue Sombrero is the .com for whatever reason. The actual server is Sports Connect. And I just sent you that number. And they're the one that process all of, we did 150 background checks with our affiliation.
Okay, so
And then, but, like, I'm in a little bit of a gray area there where 90% of our coaches come back in fall, but I don't have a free outlet to get them, so that 10% of guys that come in that don't play spring, I need to get those guys background checked. I would like to have a way.
And now the city, you now use Riser?
Yeah, but
That's still
we can
active.
change that, that's
All right,
not,
I just wanna say
The
like,
Sports
what
Connect,
else
Yeah,
is
but
out
it
there
does
that's
that, like,
active?
if that works too.
if that works, and that way we have a
Mhm.
But those are the
email
only
list.
two that we know of, right?
Like I was helping Brian with girls softball, so I have an account with his girls softball. Every time he gets an email, it's my same email address. And when you go in there, John and I have been talking, and I haven't made the time for John yet. He's actually approached me about it, but getting basketball on Sports Connect, and if it was Arbor 2, one of the three, but I think that definitely get them all together. And if not, where we're registering under, at least, a Dropbox, Amsterdam baseball, I think that that's definitely a fair request and totally doable. But
Yeah.
Sports Connect is made for registering youth programs. You can do anything from tennis, volleyball. You guys could even do your summer camps there. And it works with all the affiliate programs. So if you're doing flag football, it communicates with flag football, the parent, USA Flag, USA Soccer, Little League International, Babe Ruth, all of these programs have bought into Sports Connect, where I think that that's where they have a little bit of a talking point over some of the other ones that, we're working directly with Little League. We're not downloading CBS or whatever they are and uploading data. They're working directly with the site.
Sure.
And they're submitting our background checks through that, into Little League and making sure that we're meeting Little League compliances. So that's kind of where I
It's
think
called Score Connect.
sports can.
Oh, Sports
You sent it
Connect,
to
I'm
me.
sorry.
I got it.
And they'll answer, they're pretty responsive. Now is a very busy time of year. You might get some hold time on there with, they're taking a ton of registrations, but, definitely been responsive to me with some hiccups that I've had on the site and stuff,
Yeah, that's, do you have, anything planned with the school, the basketball team?
We have a couple things cooking.
Do you need any help for somebody to
There
video?
may be,
and stuff?
yeah,
Let
there
us
may be
know.
something going out in the next 24 hours.
Nice.
A little celebration.
Yeah, that was something, so congratulations to everybody. Anybody have anything else on,
Add one more thing, Rob, I'm really sorry.
I mean, why stop at 12?
The
Then I
draft,
have
I was just gonna say, I'm gonna say the draft if you don't.
the draft, why don't we let Chief Spencer
Well, no.
go first then?
Isn't that what we talked about, how we talked about doing it last meeting? So,
This is a lot more specific. We just said we should do something that tries to give it parity and make it fair. But this is pretty definitive.
I thought that's what we wanted to say. at
I
the
missed
last
the
meeting.
first hour, I didn't realize we were starting at 5 last, so I came at 6, I don't know what was said there between 5 and 6.
So that's what that, but yes, by all means, let's
So,
hash this out.
go ahead, Chief.
Well, I was just gonna ask, I mean, you and John are the only ones here that run youth leagues. John, how do you do drafts for basketball?
Prior to, I would say, COVID, we did draft, and then leading up into COVID, it was kind of like, I did most of the picking of the teams to make it fair, because I knew a lot of the children.
Okay, so
As the years,
working off the knowledge that you had and the coaches you had.
because, yes, but going into the later years now, new children coming in, like we did a draft this year and
Okay.
last year. We did a snake draft. But to make it better, like some of the things I'm thinking about is, like a questionnaire to go along with it, like skill level and height. And also, honestly, a photo of the member, like the player, just to have some identity on some of the children.
size.
Like some of the children, just a picture says 1,000 words when it comes to drafts, and to make the balance fair, because some people know players and children better than others. So that part is one thing I would like to work on, and as far as being better with a draft, and thinking about the guidelines of like taking pictures of children, like how does that fall into doing that? Right.
But you did it, so like, what teams picked, and then the next pick went to the
Yeah.
last
So
team?
we drew hats out of a bucket, and then you do the first pick, then you do the last pick, so snake draft.
Okay,
So you get the first pick of the first round, last pick of the second round.
all right, now how does that differ from you guys?
We did the same thing, and John actually was kind enough to bring me in for basketball a little bit, and we actually implemented this with your league as well. We did a ranking of the coaches' children, and we do.
That's correct.
Yeah, right, and they,
We do
Place them
allow an
around.
assistant coach, so how that looks is like, I have 2 children that are gonna be playing rookies level baseball. And let's just say that every coach at the table and the board member that's present during draft, which is a rule that we have 1 board member present, and you must have team representation at the draft. So everyone at the table would have to agree that my 8-year-old is a first-round pick and my 6-year-old is a third-round pick.
It's kind of a group discussion.
So and if anyone there doesn't agree, then we have to mull it out and come to an agreement. So my sponsor, Z-Core, Z-Core doesn't get a pick in the first round. I pick in the second round. I don't get a pick in the third round. I pick again in the fourth. And I think that, just while I have the floor, I think that taking the assistant out of the equation, I think it can allow a disgruntled member to come and undermine draft. And we don't want to go backwards on these things. There's a lot of guys and girls and coaches that work together, and I think they rely on each other when it comes to scheduling. And I don't think letting one assistant in is necessarily team stacking, in my opinion. We did it.
Yeah, it's a tough thing, because if you got 2 skilled, you got a head coach and assistant coach, and they're highly skilled players, both of them.
If the table doesn't agree on the
And
rankings.
they're best friends, and they're buddies, that, they're playing on the same team every year.
I go with any, the group decides, I have
Yeah,
no issue
no,
with that.
I get you, and especially basketball where two
Yes.
1s on the floor as
Makes
opposed to 2 1s that are in a field of 9 or 10, it makes a huge difference.
And
Does.
in my opinion, this is my humble opinion, when you get in the room and we walk in there and me and Michelle go in and we're coaching together and everybody under their breath is going, they're two friggin' kids, they're the best two pitchers in the league. And they go, I'm not gonna say anything. Yeah, no, put them down as a 1 and a 1 and a 2. And that's it. The season's over with. It's just a pet peeve of mine. Again, whatever the group says, I'm just stating, that's why I don't like assistant coaches. I think I go in and I pick a team and I say, hey, I'm Rob Spagnola. Would you like to help out coaching? And we all meet new people and we
Don't disagree. I'd like to bring
integrate-
some of these duos up. to be
integrate
honest
with-
you.
integrate with-
But these
meet
guys,
new people, the kids meet new people. And instead of my son and Michelle's son always knowing they're gonna be on the basketball court together, they're gonna be on the baseball court together, or baseball field
The
together,
tale as old as time.
and we just
We've had
say,
paper decades.
hey, it's, like I said, I don't know why that bothers me so much, but it just
No,
does.
We can all think of back to when we played or when we coached, and we know.
the thing is,
That
people
is.
can be wicked though. If you don't give them that, they're gonna ruin this, they can ruin the season for everybody else. And the adults have
Such
done
a
that
funny-
in our league. It's the,
It's the balance.
Are
of
they
everything.
adults then?
it's
It's
questionable.
exhausting.
I've just seen over, like,
Yeah.
again.
And I don't like, there's
Quite a bit older
coaches
than
in our
anybody
league
in
that I would
here.
like this to break up, and there's a
That-
shortage of volunteers. You have two guys that are both qualified to be ahead.
That's right. that's
One's
what I'm saying.
ahead, one's an assistant. They don't wanna, but again,
But you could use us as the reason why that happens. That's, again, my 2 cents. I won't beat a dead horse. I just,
so no
please speak up.
assistants.
I know, I'm saying, have a discussion. Speak up against me. I don't, no hard feelings. I just,
We're hosting a draft this Saturday, so I don't know what,
well, like I said, don't
I don't know what to do
implement,
with
we
that.
don't have a policy in place
okay.
that's finalized
Well,
yet.
is
so.
not having a policy like that going to dissuade somebody from having their kid participate in the league? Are they all of a sudden going to say, well, if I can't have it my way, then I'm
People do
not going to
leave.
be a part of this?
People do leave. It's incredible.
Well, they
Yeah.
adjust.
But if
Sounds like
that's
most
their
people want to
rationale
leave.
for leaving, then
And you can't please everybody.
I just remember going, when I was, my kids were first starting out, and, oh no, we're together. Oh, yeah, no, and 2 other guys were together. I'm like,
It's still kind of like that with some
I
stuff, you know?
I don't know. I'm like, meet new people,
Oh, yeah, we
talk to strangers, you'll be, I don't know.
definitely went through that where there was coaches that wanted to keep teams together for years, and like, you just can't do that because if you have talented coaching on one side, those kids just get better and better, and the gap gets bigger and bigger and bigger. You have to meet new people and learn, work with different styles and.
I'm a fan personally, like you asked me about draft and stuff, I was personally, like, I think if height and other things are included or positions, like if you add what positions, like for sport, like for mine, like what position you feel good at. I feel like a randomized draft is like that's something I did. I did
Prorated,
Like in the computer
Program
randomized?
driven.
Yeah, just put it in.
I randomized the draft and did it.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, and then from there, it fell where it fell. And then after the first couple weeks of practices or clinic and them together, you can kind of eye and see like, this is not going to work. This team before the season starts needs some help or stuff like that. So that's another, idea. Because I struggle with draft back towards the before COVID time where people wanted to stack teams and friends, well, I can't get a ride unless this person gets with me. We coach together, we work, all that stuff.
yeah.
We can only do
Listen,
Thursday.
there's always,
There's an
there's
excuse.
always a rule, a situation where the rule needs to be broken.
The
Just
ride
because you're
sharing.
saying that that's the rule doesn't mean that people still can't use their first pick to.
Right,
pick
yeah,
whatever it
absolutely.
is
Yeah, and that's what we
as
did.
the dad that you want to coach
Absolutely.
with. I mean, that's the way
You lose
around
4
it, you know,
picks.
priorities.
Like,
You know what I mean? If somebody came up to you and said,
You lose 2 rounds.
I'm sorry, my husband just got switched to work nights and I gotta take care of my mom because my mom is sick. My son or daughter won't have a ride to the game unless my neighbor can bring him. I'm not saying don't say yes to something like that, but, you know what I mean? I think somebody in a position of being a leader, you gotta say yes to some people and no to others, and because of a situation that warrant. Just because me and Michelle are gonna throw a temper tantrum because
Can't be together.
can't be together, I mean, no, I think that's,
And there's a
That's-
lot to be learned from
Phone calls
spending
and
season
games, right.
on a losing team. Like, I think every kid should be on a losing team one season in their life. You learn a lot.
well, I think, I'll go to football. I know
You can't just win every
there was
freaking
two
game.
coaches,
Yeah.
when Robbie played, I think they won, like 65 games in a row or something like that, because,
Ridiculous, yeah.
you know what I mean, in football, you don't redraft, you keep kids for, right, three, wasn't it?
They won 4 years in a row.
Right,
You gotta be.
The Bears.
right, the Bears,
You
yeah.
even know the name, yeah.
Some of the games weren't even competitive.
The other people
I mean, they were
show
well,
up
they
knowing
were
they're
well
gonna
coached
lose.
Oh,
too.
Yeah,
Let's
no.
put that, they were well, I think whatever system they had in place, they made football players out of anybody.
Then
So
teach
the-
that to everyone, then they,
But the passion of,
yeah.
I'm not gonna name drop because we're live, right? But these two coaches that were involved with that dynasty used to do like preparation in the morning over a coffee, defensive schemes, like they're educated in the sport, so.
Right, so that's why it's
And
nice
had
to
the
pass
time
that
to
knowledge
do it,
around,
yeah.
whether regarding what sport.
Yeah.
And there's this is a good idea, especially at certain age group. There's a certain age group, I'm not, maybe it's 12, maybe it's 13, where then you do hit, where it is competitive and you are here to win and you are here to learn and things like that. But if we're gonna focus on the youth groups now, I mean,
Yeah.
one
Gotta be
league,
fun.
like baseball is just starting, the
Educational.
group that's 13 and up. And how high in age does the basketball group go to?
Goes to sixth grade,
Okay, right, so about
high
that
school in
time.
the summer, but
Yeah, and they
for
get
the younger youth.
modified, yeah.
Right, yeah, if you're talking kids who are 14, 15, no, this is a competitive group, you're here to win, okay, it'll be what it'll be.
but for the younger youth, I
For the
mean,
younger one, it's,
it crushes me when they get beat by 30 points, you know what I mean? And
right,
they don't wanna play anymore or something like that. That's
Yeah.
that's what you don't want,
Teach my team how to keep score.
yeah,
They never do.
you know?
That's what I think,
My
you,
team is
you
so bad,
know,
they
you
never
don't wanna
win
discourage kids from
Player
playing.
But even-
retention is the most important thing that, until
And it
you're
happens.
sitting at
It's
the
gonna
top
happen.
chair, you
Yeah.
don't realize that
It
the
can
coaches often get in the way of that. They don't realize the harm that they're causing when they go after the wins,
And the trickle up effect is then we don't have
You don't
rosters that are big enough to compete at the
Yeah.
modified level.
They
Exactly.
quit young.
Correct.
And same thing with the score, like, I think something for scoring, just to keep it respectful, the team's gonna be by 25 points, I'm like, you missed the 2 points! To make it 27, and I already stopped the score.
right.
Like, we got the score here if you come back, which happened one time.
Right.
It was your game? It was a game.
Not my game.
No, we were ahead all season.
John's
Yeah.
notorious for keeping the game close with the whistle though. I don't know.
Well, it's hard, I mean, basketball is a different animal, like baseball, we have the mercy rule, there's four runs an inning or 5 runs an inning, that's
Yeah.
Yeah.
another thing, that's a set Little League standard, that's a policy, I mean, basketball's hard too. What do
Well,
you-
yeah, I lowered it to pressing, no pressing over 10 points,
Okay.
things like that for the older league, right? No stealing.
All right,
Right,
that's
no
good.
stealing keeps the ball from being just ripped out of a kid's hand who's not as
Just trying to
athletic.
learn how to dribble.
Just learn how
Yeah.
to dribble, so it makes it better. So
Yeah.
like, those are the things that you try to modify to keep the game from being,
I'm
keep it
not
close.
in disagreement with the drafting. When I started asking these questions, I'm really just asking on behalf of the league. We went over it all. These were the
What do
questions
you think?
that they asked me. I think that first of all, the whole, I can't get to the game unless this person is my coach. That's a rule that, we don't stand by, and we've refunded people over it. in the
assistant
past.
or no assistant?
Assistant, I would get behind it only because I know the body of my league.
I
wants
agree
it.
with assistant myself because I feel like I had a couple coaches this year that were new. And together they felt more comfortable coaching and they fed off each other's energy and
Right now,
they had a better camaraderie with the youth as well. And some days, one coach couldn't make it. The other
we're looking
coach-
for a 7th team in our rookies division, our 6, 7, and 8-year-olds, and there's 2 guys right now that we're talking to, and we're trying to put them together as a co-head coach type deal. The league wouldn't be able to do it with them.
See, but that's what I'm saying, I don't think there's no assistant, this says no assistant coach.
You think it should
I mean,
be
it's
from a
not like-
team after being picked?
Well, I'm just saying, I think there's always, you have to keep an open mind as to an exception to a rule. You know what I mean? Like I said, me and Michelle come in stamping our feet, we want our kids to play together. You should tell us no. I said, somebody says, hey, listen, you need a 7th team in the league, I can't commit to being there all the time. I can probably make, 7 of these games. Can you get somebody else to help me out? So when I'm not there, well, yeah, if the alternative is these 13 kids aren't gonna have a team to play on, or we can combine these 2 guys because we're short of coaches.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if setting a rule, saying, hey, let's set this rule, but break it when you want to is a policy to go by.
I just don't want anyone to come
I
here
get
and
that,
say, oh, well, like we offer people to come in, this is where you go if you're not getting a response or feedback from the league, or even have an open dialogue, right? And then have someone come that is disgruntled and say they're not running the draft in accordance to the field usage agreement, and then what do we do? We've already ordered jerseys, I don't know, just something, and like I said, I'm not trying to filibuster this whole thing. I want to see us accomplish this agreement, but those are just concerns that were, brought up.
One suggestion is maybe that the one assigned coach, like you're saying, once you pick the team, off of your team, a child's parent can step up and be an assistant coach. Then that's fair, like after the draft. But then you have to go through all the other stuff,
Yeah, this isn't saying no assistant coach, though. It's saying the assistant coach has to be chosen after the team is established.
I think that's fair.
Right.
If that's something,
That's
I'm
what
not gonna
it's
tell you how to
supposed
do,
be, right?
your assistant
Do
coach,
we
how
try
it
it
works.
out for a couple seasons and see what happens?
If it's something that's, right now it's short term, so like this year, is it something that realistically might affect you right now? Yeah. Maybe like next year you try it, or a year after, I don't know.
Well, my interpretation of that is if there's a coach who is an assistant, he doesn't want to come in as a head, his kid is really good. There's 2 friends that want to be together, the head coach and the assistant want to be together, and that kid is talented, that, you're gonna set that season up for a lot of tension. And those are things that I think are, the league wants to do a nice job of making balanced teams and show parity across the board, but we also want everyone to enjoy their time in the league too, and make sure that we're we're not fighting battles that could have been avoided over an interpretation of the rule.
I don't know.
John, what do you think as the athletic director of the school? What do you think would be the best?
I think trying to make every team as balanced as humanly possible,
So that would be-
especially, the younger the age, the more balanced. I mean, that's just,
Well, I feel like that makes the most sense. Obviously, you might upset some parents, but really, it still might work out in their favor anyways if they try to make it happen as far as the assistant coach. But I've seen from a parent standpoint, like 2 really strong coaches, like you said, on one team, and then another team with a coach that's never coached before. Obviously, that will be addressed with the coach clinics and stuff like that as well.
and I think that will go potentially a long way in creating a balance with teams if the big difference is the level of coaching that a team is getting.
Yeah.
Because you don't know how much untapped potential is there. Sometimes you
get
get in
different
front of the
levels of
right
coaching.
adults to, guide them accordingly.
And you can hold all the coaches clinics you want. We did 4 of them this year, and it was coach player clinics where we're sharing an acumen, we're sharing all this dialogue. My glove loves the dirt, and pop flies are like rainbows, and move your feet, 1-2 on the pitch, and same 4 guys came for all 4 weekends, so.
My personal opinion, I don't think, and I read a book written by Coach K once who said this, and I can't stick with telling some parents, you can't, you guys aren't coaching together. That's it. It says it right in the rule. And then the 2 guys come in and they say, I can coach 7 games, but I can't make all 10. Can you give me something? All right, you 2 guys can coach together. And Coach K told the story. He was using the example, Shane Battier, I forget if he left after his junior or senior, I think he was a senior. He said if Shane Battier was late for the bus his senior year, the bus was leaving to go to a game, he would wait. You don't care how long he had to wait. If they were gonna be late for the game, he's waiting for Shane Battier his senior year. He said if the freshman walked on his first year there and he was late for the bus,
They leave.
we're out of here.
Yeah.
So Is the rule the same for everybody? I mean, it kind of is.
Well, and I
Because
appreciate that, you
He
know,
would say if that freshman became a senior and built up the same amount of trust, he would get the same consideration. So I don't know. I think you could have rules, and while they may not seem like you're interpreting them fairly, I think if you use good judgment, you are interpreting them fairly.
I'm okay with that.
That's all I'm trying to say.
No, and I.
We want to coach together
I
because
even had the same.
we don't like
issue
integrating with other
before seasons,
people,
you know,
and
some
our two
every
kids are
year.
the best. We want to dominate.
Maybe Jonesy.
That's not a good reason to want to coach together.
I don't know where he's gonna find the time,
Yeah.
but I'm sure he'll find it.
I like that, a lot, Rob, you know, I appreciate, you know, what you're saying there. I think giving these leagues some discretion while also putting things in writing, I think is, you know, and having a mutual understanding that you might have to vary from this, as long as the league is using discretion, you know, that, you know, we have a written set of rules that says no assistant, but if it comes down to not having a seventh team and teams of 18 kids otherwise, then we have to make an accommodation to get these two dads together to coach.
Right, is everybody all right with that?
But it's like no assistant at draft though, because I think every team needs an assistant.
Yeah, right, yes, you
Just
have,
not at the
Yeah,
draft.
at draft,
That
You're not gonna
influences your team pick.
yeah.
Because that's what really what it comes down to is like, if you're assistant, then your son and their son or child is playing on the
Mhm.
same team. And it shouldn't be the issue or the case. It is annoying
Yeah.
sometimes. Be frustrating
Or
for some
assistants
families.
are picked at the time after the teams are fielded or something.
Assistants would be appointed after their roster was established, right, from within the roster. It's not like you
Yeah.
can take that kid after the fact.
Right.
But
Or
you
the
can offer
rules-
trades too. Didn't they used to do trades back in the day
No.
where you could trade certain players after
That's like a whole act of Congress in Little League.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I'm just
Chief, was
saying.
there anything else about the draft that you?
No, that was the crux of it.
I think in writing, it should be, the assistant coach should have no influence on their, you know, their child playing with the head coach type thing. It should either be a volunteer with no children or nothing tied to the team, someone that is going to come and offer the skill, or it was someone that is a guardian or parent of the child and was asked or requested after the fact, after the draft.
Mike, how often do you get non-parents who are volunteering?
So it's a very rare thing. It's a very rare thing. There's, you know, Steve Purcell has given 50 years to our league and he just done a fantastic job, but he's about the only one that gives time because he loves and has a passion for the league and for the kids. But other than that, it's a very, very rare thing. You know, we also have a board member who has been around and he's built relationships with kids in the league, and his kid actually left the sport and he's still coaching, which is really cool. But those are the only two guys in, you know, 9 years of me being around that have done it. So
I don't care if we take out like the snake draft, I mean,
the snake draft makes sense to me. I think that makes sense. Just, it's one of these things that, you know, I'm gonna get questioned on. I just, you know, I don't wanna beat the dead horse if we can use discretion.
again, I don't want to micromanage. I thought the two things in about selection of teams were things that we talked about at the last meeting, and that's why they were in there like that.
Soccer's the one that's not doing any kind of draft. That's, I think, where that came from, because I think they're the only rec league that's not doing any kind of draft, and it's more or less just placing kids on teams. And that's kind of where there was a lot of one-sided teams based on, you know,
Is that after some sort of skill evaluation or is it?
there's no skill evaluation. It's just basically.
It's more of like an egregious like violation of
It's more or less
what we're
like,
trying
could you
to-
request somebody, you know, which some people have benefited from, I'm one of them. When you know what coach to request, you know, it's nice when you get that coach, but it's not good for the, you know, kids that don't know who to request or anything like that, and then they end up with a coach that isn't a very good coach, so. I think that putting it in the literature is a good idea, just to have it as like a base to go by for soccer specifically, and it seems like the other leagues are already doing it.
Kelly, you said you had something?
For our next meeting, I'd like to talk about, some constituents have come to me about park cleanup days, like specifically about parks, like sassafras or something, if they could get a group together to do some repairs or cleanups, they'd be interested in it. but they just didn't know how to go about that.
What
So
about Earth Day or no?
maybe separate from that, because I know we're doing our citywide cleanup, but I think just to do any updates or repairs, so maybe that's something we can look at in the future, or, in May, or,
Yeah.
so in the April meeting, but I don't think we need to talk about it tonight.
I can add one thing for the April meeting too. What do we do when we have like a really bad violation here, to prevent a league from dissolving like Little Giants? Maybe we need to think about an action plan if this commission does need to step in. That way, like, you take the bones and what's left of this thing and keep it afloat for at least a season. And we have some type of action plan where, we come in and it's almost like the National Guard, we come in and figure things out before the league really fully dissolves. Obviously.
Or when the controller came to the city of Amsterdam, the comptroller.
I think that, you guys seem very fair. And like I said, I don't expect Michelle to pop out of the woods and say, hey, who's AED trained here? And you seem to be very flexible with the draft thing, but what if we have something really bad, right? And where does the league go if we have a major violation here? The league is dropping its insurance, there's 300 kids registered.
Finance.
What are we gonna do? I think having some type of action plan in place would benefit the city.
So next meeting, we'll send out an updated agreement here in the next week or so. Try to come up with what do we do if somebody's not following this? That's something that we definitely need on here. Add the things about the premises, the garbage, the concession usage, stuff like that. And have an agenda.
A
We might have-
suggestion about the county and the AEDs.
Yep, I got that on there. Call Sports Connect, see if we can finalize
Got the
that.
number.
We'll see if we have some updates on other past items that we had talked about. And go from there.
I don't, go ahead.
I just wanted to ask, what's the process? I belong to the Alps, and we have the ability to write for grants that benefit the community, benefit children, and, so I just wondered, what's the process? If it goes to the city, or if it goes to individual, like baseball, or soccer, or basketball, what's the process? Because one of the projects we looked at was the playground equipment at the River Club Center.
Ever Lake Park?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really deteriorating badly, like the plastic also
So
is broken.
that one would be the city.
Okay.
Because that's a city park. Your question, if you did have something with Mike regarding something at an improvement for the Little League field, you could work with that.
Last year, but it didn't come through. I think he did apply on our behalf, and
Yeah,
I think you guys gave the money to somebody else, which is great, but he did include us in it, or it just never came to fruition.
no, because they got $10,000,
Yeah,
and there were so many hoops from the state of New York
to try to do it.
that it was just really too difficult.
Yeah, one of the secretaries and I did work pretty hard on getting some money for us, and, that's it.
Yeah,
You miss every chance you don't take, so I totally understand, but,
and that's why I was thinking, like, the playground equipment, AEDs, because would you guys share them amongst the groups? Would that be possible if we bought them?
like, we're trying to go that way, for sure, right now, if there is no set standard, but it looks like we're trying to go that way, doing something collectively here, right, Robert?
We'll try.
Because maybe if we can identify a need that we can,
That'd be awesome, yeah.
then.
I think AED one is a big one for everybody too, so if you wanna talk more.
I had a last question.
Yeah, that would be.
Shuttleworth, the main baseball field. Does any city rec use that?
Yeah.
Who used it?
His team.
The teenagers? the baseball
Teenagers
use
use it, and we've actually had some overflow Little League down there, like, I work well with Ryan and Rob, and hey, we really need to get a practice in.
Bob Moran's team.
that? Okay.
The Titans. They use it. Like local rec teams?
Yeah, well, yeah, I know you can rent, but there's a
Yeah,
travel team.
CBA's using it.
Yeah, Union or RPI, whomever. Okay, but
But
teenage
it's
group uses
it's
it?
generally them, Titans,
Okay.
obviously Mohawks.
Might need a little more time this year.
Obviously Rams.
Rams, yeah, geez, I missed that
I see they
one.
play, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wait,
We play every home game.
Yeah.
Just saying.
we read it, oh, yeah, you're not playing it.
Well, you mentioned rec program, so
You got
I
nervous.
didn't jump in.
That's JV and varsity?
JV will Sometimes play there, not always. We also use Four Diamonds for JV, but varsity always plays there.
That was all.
Why, what are you thinking?
No, I just wanted to know how much use of it, I know that, you know, a lot of it is, the Mohawks use it a lot, and then you do have those,
So
some of the older groups, like when the Union was there, and now CBA is there, so.
There's even a men's baseball league down there, isn't there?
but they, kind of, the scheduling got too tough with you guys. So the Mohawks are there probably 22 games, I'll bet you, home games. These guys and Bob, what do you
We
think?
maybe had about 12 games there.
Bob probably has 20, I'll bet you, so 30, high school.
Probably another 15.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, high school, you're done by the end of the school year, though.
Oh, we're done by
Yeah.
mid-May.
Into the summer. Huh, that was all. My kids aren't that old, so I've lost touch with who plays there.
Just, we'll have the water on, it's what the temperature's supposed to be real low this weekend.
We haven't turned the water on anywhere in the district.
No, so but
I get it.
I was gonna shoot you a text, but I figured I'd see that. We're shooting for next Monday, because it looks like then
Okay.
it stays above
It's
freezing.
supposed to be more money.
Yeah.
Does CDTA go down to,
Shuttleworth,
they can't make it, right?
right? There's no stops anywhere near there.
I'm not sure.
I think Clisby, or, yeah, Clisby, I think.
They're
is the
like
closest.
Hewitt, aren't they?
Are they on Hewitt?
Pretty close.
Oh, yeah, right on the corner of Clisby, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, Hewitt includes me, you could walk there from, yeah.
From there, yeah, okay. I was just wondering, because I always see the CDTA bus coming down, you know,
Yeah.
from like near Northern Boulevard in the morning.
I think right by Creekside is the.
Yeah, yeah.
Probably, yeah.
Nothing else? We're good? Thanks, everybody.
Thanks for showing.
We'll see you soon.
Good meeting.
Okay.